Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Connected by Design webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's session is all about being game day ready with scalable network solutions for events, seasons, and surges. We'll show you how you can quickly spin up a fast and secure network, enable elastic bandwidth, and gain full control of your network. Let's start with some quick introductions. My name is Niki Noon from our NaaS specialized sales team at Lumen, and I am joined today by Cale Baldwin, Principal Technology Architect at Lumen. In today's session, we'll cover how Lumen NaaS can help organizations navigate events and bandwidth surges. We'll review several customer case studies and real-world scenarios, and finally, a demonstration on how to stand up NaaS in just a few short minutes. We'll save the final 10 or 15 minutes for questions. So as you have them, drop them into the chat and we'll cover as many as we can live. And for any questions we don't get to today, we'll follow up with you directly after the session. So let's talk about what defines a surge and why traditional networks often fall short in these moments. A surge could be anything from a holiday shopping rush to a major sporting event or a pop-up clinic. These scenarios create sudden spikes in bandwidth demand, and that can overwhelm static infrastructure. The first challenge is latency. When traffic spikes, performance drops, and that impacts customer experience and critical operations. Then there's provisioning delays. Traditional networks can take days or even weeks to scale, which just doesn't work when you need to respond in real time. And of course, cost inefficiencies. Over provisioning to prepare for surges means you're paying for capacity you don't use most of the time. Under provisioning, on the other hand, puts you at risk for outages and loss of revenue. IT leaders tell us again and again that they are looking for reliable, low latency connections that are agile and have the ability to scale up or down to support surge events while also controlling cost. This is where Lumen NaaS comes in. With on-demand provisioning, you can activate and scale bandwidth in minutes through a self-service portal or an API. You get low latency and high reliability thanks to dedicated high-speed connections and direct cloud on-ramps. And it's cost optimized. You only pay for what you use, scaling up and down without penalty. Whether it's a seasonal spike, an event-driven traffic surge, or a temporary deployment like a retail pop-up or a mobile clinic, Lumen NaaS gives you the agility to respond instantly and securely. Now, let's take a look at a few Lumen customer case studies. The power of NaaS truly shines in real-world scenarios. We're seeing diverse industries adopt NaaS for critical operations. Churchill Downs, renowned for the Kentucky Derby and my home state, hosts premier thoroughbred horse racing events, accommodating about 385,000 guests during Derby week, which puts enormous pressure on their network. They needed low latency, high reliability, and the ability to scale bandwidth quickly to support global streaming, better operations, and media coverage. Traditional provisioning wasn't fast or flexible enough, and managing temporary circuits for vendors and media was time-consuming and expensive. With Lumen NaaS, they were able to seamlessly handle a 25 times bandwidth spike, deploy quick, secure circuits for media and vendors, maintain 100% uptime with enhanced security, improve operational efficiency, and reduce cost. This is a great example of how NaaS supports mission-critical, high-visibility events, delivering the performance and agility needed without overbuilding the network. Now, let's take a look at another real-world example of how Lumen NaaS delivers under pressure, this time in the world of live sports broadcasting. The Pac-12 network faced a number of challenges. They needed to build a new IP-based facility quickly, despite delays in supply chain. They had to connect 7 new schools by 2026. Traditional production methods were too costly and inflexible for live sporting events. And most critically, a third-party network failure nearly jeopardized a live event. That's where Lumen NaaS stepped in. Lumen restored connectivity in minutes, providing the resilience and agility of our platform. Delivered live broadcasts with virtually no delay, scaled bandwidth from 1 to 10 gigs per event. The result? Pac-12 dramatically improved cost efficiency, increased revenue, and future-proofed their production model. Now, let's shift to the retail sector and look at how City Furniture used Lumen NaaS to transform their operations. City Furniture needed to support a growing number of showrooms and distribution centers while also delivering a seamless digital experience to customers, both in-store and online, and also supporting high-demand retail events and seasonal activity. Their challenge was twofold. They needed reliable, high-speed connectivity across all locations to support everything from point-of-sale systems to customer Wi-Fi. And they wanted flexibility to scale bandwidth up or down based on seasonal demand, like holiday shopping or promotional events. With Lumen NaaS, they were able to improve application performance and reduce the latency across their digital platforms, exceed SLA targets, provide an enhanced customer experience, improve operational efficiency by deploying new locations faster, and scale bandwidth dynamically to match customer traffic and business needs. The result? A future-ready infrastructure that it can adapt to whatever comes next, whether that's a new showroom, a flash sale, or a shift in consumer behavior. City Furniture's success shows how NaaS isn't just for big events. It's a powerful tool for everyday retail operations that need to be fast, flexible, and customer focused. So now I'll hand it off to Cale to summarize everything for us and to walk us through a demonstration. Take it away, Cale.
Thanks, Nikki. Thanks so much. Those use cases are fantastic. Really appreciate you going through all those. So far, we've seen how Lumen NaaS delivers agility, scalability, and reliability across industries. If you need to activate and scale internet quickly and easily for any reason, like a pop-up medical clinic, college registration, seasonal shopping, or corporate events, Lumen NaaS provides reliable, high-speed, low-latency connectivity that you can scale in minutes without any long-term commitments. Lumen NaaS customers experience enhanced agility and optimized costs by leveraging one of the largest, most secure networks with direct cloud on-ramps, diverse routing, and industry-leading SLAs. So, as you heard from our case studies, Lumen NaaS is revolutionizing networking, giving you the infrastructure with more capacity, flexibility, and scalability. Again, that's perfect for things like pop-ups, seasonal, and temporary events. And you can activate Lumen NaaS in minutes, and once activated, you can scale that bandwidth up and down. So 100 gigabits of bandwidth can support your demanding workloads, helping you move data with greater speed and efficiency. Also, NaaS is widely available in more than 10 million commercial buildings. A secure cloud-like experience means you only pay for what you use. You don't have to oversubscribe or buy to the peak to meet your needs. You simply can scale up when you need to using the portal or API. And you can choose from layer 2 connectivity options or opt for the public internet and layer security services over the top for added protection. Lumen NaaS is a cost-effective option. You don't have to buy for that peak and oversubscribe. You can scale it up and down as you need without penalty. It also reduces architectural complexity and associated costs, giving you high-speed connections for AI apps and workloads. So let's take a look and see how NaaS works. The Lumen high-capacity fabric port enables high-bandwidth Ethernet and internet connectivity up to 100 gigabits per second, designed to seamlessly interconnect workloads, applications, and large volumes of data between sites, clouds, and data centers with ease and flexibility. We can see this in the slide here, our fabric ports in the middle, and look at all those different connectivity options we have with connectivity to all the different cloud providers, as well as private connectivity and internet connectivity. These multi-service ports allow you to run multiple connectivity types like internet and Ethernet across the same physical port, eliminating the need for multiple ports, which helps you reduce complexity and keep your costs down. Okay, so let's move from concept to reality. And what we're going to do is a live demonstration of the Lumen Control Center portal. And I'll show you how easy it is to manage your network in 5 minutes or less. As we go in, just a few notes. First, what we're going to do is log into the Lumen Control Center portal and show you how easy it is to view your Lumen Fabric ports. Then I'll show you how to activate those services and scale that bandwidth up and down as your needs change for something like a temporary event. And then finally, we're going to take a look at the Lumen Network Visibility Dashboard and how you can see that within the Control Center portal. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so I'm logged into the Lumen Control Center portal, which is the customer-facing portal where you can do a multitude of different things with your Lumen services. And within that, we have what we call NaaS Manager. And so NaaS Manager is going to be where you would be able to both establish new NaaS ports as well as build the different on-demand services such as Internet on Demand and Ethernet on Demand over those ports. So from a how to connect your building to Lumen, that's where the NaaS port comes in. And just a brief explanation of what a NaaS port is. It's a port on the Lumen network that's a multi-service port. And what I mean by that is that allows you to create a whole bunch of different kind of virtual connections over the top of that physical port. And so that could be Ethernet on demand connections or internet on demand connections that live on that same port and are just VLAN separated services. So that allows you to use that single physical port to create a bunch of different connections based on your needs. You can order those ports directly in NaaS Manager, as well as through your account team, right? So there's a couple of different ways to procure those ports. Once those ports are established and ready to go and in service, then you're able to go in and build these on-demand services to be able to connect up, say, to the internet. So let's look at an example of how to build one of those services and go through a connection to see how you can build that connection over the top of a physical NaaS port. So in this example, what I'm doing is I've already gone through this step of creating this physical port, and now I'm going to build an internet on demand service over the top of that physical port. So what we do is we just go ahead and add a connection. And when you add a connection, there's going to be two choices. There's the data center option and the customer site building option. So a quick brief explanation on that is we do have partnerships with several data center providers, currently Digital Realty, Equinix, and Flexential. And if you're a customer on one of their Fabric port services, then you can leverage the Internet on Demand service through that ecosystem and create a connection in minutes to be able to get a Lumen internet service over the top of that port. For other locations that are customer site building locations, you can select this customer site building tab, and then in the search box, you just press spacebar. All of your in-service NaaS ports would show up in this window. So let's just go ahead and take a address here in Sunnyvale, California. And so I have 3 different ports that are already established there. And I want to build an internet on demand service for this port here. So all of these services are VLAN separated. So when you start spinning up these services, then it's going to ask you to establish a customer edge VLAN. And so that would be any VLAN that you want to choose. And the reason why we let you select that is so that that there's no conflicts within your own LAN environment. So I'm just going to choose a VLAN here that's not already in use. And then go through the next steps. And it's just a few steps to build this connectivity. So at this connection, what I want to do is look at bandwidth. And so when we talk about flexibility on bandwidth, what you'll see here is that you can establish this service at, say, day 1 at 100 meg. And then if you want to change the bandwidth to higher or lower bandwidths, you can do that whenever you want. And it takes essentially about 5 minutes for that configuration change to take place. So say I wanted to set this service at 100 meg. So what it's going to do from a billing perspective is there's no contracts for these connections. So it's just going to bill an hourly rate of 46 cents per hour. And then if you disconnect that service, whenever you do that, it would prorate that connection by the hour. So if you flex the bandwidth up or down, then it's going to prorate those charges based on the tiers of bandwidth that you select. I'm going to choose 100 meg for this connection, and then go to the next step. And the next step is selecting your IP and routing for the service. So the default for these connections is just a static route with /30 for the LAN and WAN. There's a bunch of different options that we have in here, from BGP to directly connected, and some larger block sizes that you can have. For this exercise, I think I'm going to just set it to the default of the /30 and the static. And then as you have different needs as a customer, we can get a little bit more in depth on all of the more complicated configurations. So once you have your IP routing selected, then at this point, you can start going through the security add-ons. And so again, it's not just the internet service that we're offering on this platform. We're layering on security services over the top. So we have a couple of those. So DDoS Essentials, that's going to protect you from volumetric attacks. And again, it's just an hourly charge for that service. So for DDoS Essentials, you can just leave that checkbox on for that protection, and we will protect this internet service automatically. And then we have our Lumen Defender product. So Lumen Defender is in a couple of different flavors. Defender Plus, as an example, is a threat mitigation tool. And we have a group within Lumen called Black Lotus Labs. Black Lotus Labs is our threat mitigation arm, and they've created a product that we use on our own network. Because we have the most peered with IP backbone in the world, we have created a tool to stop bad actors and mitigate threats from bad IPs, and that's called Lumen Defender. And so Lumen Defender blocks those threats before they ever hit your network. And we've seen that customers that leverage this service have seen a huge drop in their firewall alerts, and it's a great service to be able to add to your connectivity. So that's just an extra hourly charge. In this case, it's 14 cents per hour to protect that service. So the next thing you got to do is create a service nickname for this. I'm just going to use webinar demo for our nickname, and then I just need to choose a billing account. So we'll just choose the only billing account in there, and then here's just a recap of everything that was selected. So what we do when you get this service built is it recaps everything you selected, and then you just have to submit your order. So let's submit our order, and then you can move on and start doing other things. So once your order is completed, you would get a email notification as well as the additional details right here in the portal as well. So let's actually take a look at a connection that I built earlier and look at what those details look like. So I'm going to go into the services tab in internet, and you can see here I already created a webinar demo service nickname. And so I want to look at that connectivity and see all the details of that. And when you go into this this summary section, you'll see that it gives you IP addressing and the VLAN tag that you used and the routing option, all those details there. And it also gives you the port and location that you created this connection on. So all those details are within the services section of the portal. So what can you do once you have this connection built? Well, you can do a bunch of different things. A couple things that I wanted to show were this managed service option. So under the managed services section, that's going to allow you to do things like add or remove the security services that we put onto that IoT service, as well as do the bandwidth modifications to the service. So under managed service, say I want to move my service up from a 100 meg connection. Say I have an event or a data replication that I'm doing at a certain time, and I need to increase my throughput on these connections. You can go into this managed services option, and you can update that bandwidth to be able to scale your service up to a higher bandwidth. So in the past, that would be something that would take a pretty long time to be able to change the logical bandwidth on an internet service. Now that's essentially done in 5 minutes, right? So let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at how we can update the bandwidth of our service that we've already created in the managed services section. So as you can see here, here's my connection that I built previously. And what I want to do is come down to the action section, and there's a bunch of different things that you can do. The one I want to show you is how to update bandwidth for the connection. So this current bandwidth is saying it's at 100 meg today. And what I want to do is I have some sort of event or data replication that I'm going to do, and I want to bump that up to 1 gig. So what I can do is select 1 gig in the portal as my new bandwidth. And then what it's going to do is it's going to review what I've just selected. So my current bandwidth is 100 meg. My new bandwidth is 1 gig. And then just submit that order. When I submit that order, instead of this taking 30 plus days to change this configuration, it takes 5 minutes to update the bandwidth. And then once that's complete, then you would have that additional throughput to be able to utilize this increased capacity. So that kind of flexibility is a part of all these different services that we have here within the portal. So the last thing I'd like to take a look at is, how do we allow you as a customer to monitor and have network visibility? So the way we do that is what we call the network visibility dashboard. So under here in the monitoring section, we have this network visibility link. And when you go in there, that's going to allow you to look at all your network services and to look at things like usage and potentially set up thresholds and alerts for the service. So I'm here in the network visibility dashboard. Let's just look at the list view for this connections, and it will load up all the different connections. And I'll show you just briefly how you can look at utilization and set up alerts. So let's look at services. And here in services, I see an internet on demand service. And what I want to do is I want to look at this specific service. So I'm going to just select this service. And what you can see here is that it gives me an overall view of the utilization within different time periods. So this is a 24-hour time period. You can set that to a number of different ranges, the performance of the service, and it'll tell you whether it's up or down. And then also, importantly, there's an ability to set threshold alerts. So if you wanted to set a threshold alert to say when this service hits, say 70 or 80%, you can do this directly in the portal, and it will send an email alert once you've hit that threshold. So this allows you to have visibility of your network services, set thresholds, look at utilization, and also do things like open repair tickets if there's any issues. So that's just a real high level of the Lumen NaaS Manager and Control Center and how we are able to leverage this platform within your NaaS services. One other thing about this is that not only do we have this UI experiences, we also have customer-facing APIs that are also part of everything you see in the portal here. Also has a customer-facing API.
Okay, as we wrap up our demo,
Over 1,000 enterprises now trust Lumen NaaS for connectivity because of the reliability and resilience of the Lumen network. Cost effective, fast scalability, our tailored security options, and the ability to provide simple, complex multi cloud environments.
Thanks for the demo, Kale. Seeing is believing, and as expected, I see we've got some questions. So let's get to it, and we'll cover as many as we can.
All right, so I'm looking at the Q&A here, and it looks like I see one that's good for you, Nikki. So the first question I'm seeing here is, can NaaS be integrated with existing network infrastructure? And what are the key considerations for IT teams when deploying it for short-term use cases?
Great question, Kale. Yes, network as a service, NaaS, can be integrated with existing network infrastructure. Modern NaaS solutions, such as Lumen NaaS, are designed to work alongside legacy systems. That will enable the organization to extend, augment, or temporarily enhance the current network without a full rip and replace. So, integration is typically achieved through on prem NaaS ports, virtualized connections, or cloud based orchestration. And that allows for seamless connectivity between traditional hardware and new software defined services. Next question I see here, it's a great one. What security measures are built into Lumen NAS to protect sensitive data during temporary deployments?
Yeah, that's a great question, Nikki. I would say that the Lumen NaaS platform, it's a layered approach from a security perspective to protect every level of your network stack. Uh, in terms of key features, I would say multi-layered threat defense with real-time monitoring and threat mitigation. So one of the key items that we want to reinforce is that the Lumen arm, known as Black Lotus Labs, is our threat intelligence and threat mitigation arm. And so that intelligence that we have proactively detects and blocks malicious traffic at the network edge, right? And so a couple of items to talk about around that is Lumen Defender. So Lumen Defender is a service that Lumen has developed through Black Lotus Labs, which is an add-on service for our internet on demand offering. And that's going to automate and protect against volumetric attacks, ensuring uptime and high risk periods are you're going to be okay. Basically, we're blocking that traffic before it ever even gets to you as a customer, right? The other thing to mention from an internet on demand perspective is our DDoS Essentials add-on. So DDoS Essentials, you just add that onto your service, instantaneously protecting your IPs against volumetric attacks, ensuring uptime and making sure you're not going to go down. Uh, the other services that we offer leverage our private network. So those are IPVPN on demand and Ethernet on demand. So the nature of that is secure private connectivity, and you can layer on multi-cloud within that and encryption as well. So that's kind of embedded into the solution as well. Let's see what else do we have here for you, Nikki, in terms of some questions here. Here's a good one. Okay. What kind of visibility and control do IT teams have over network performance during a live event using NaaS?
That's a great question. Thanks, Gail. The Lumen Control Center portal is the central hub for IT teams to manage network performance during live events. And there's a few features on the platform that are really useful. There's performance dashboards that allow for easy review of real time performance metrics, usage insights, alerts for bandwidth, on latency, jitter, packet delivery. Post event reports can also be run to analyze performance after the fact. There's also something I like, which is threshold alerts. That allows teams to set custom watch and warning thresholds so that they receive notifications when performance metrics exceed the defined limits. And then I think the other really nice visual feature is the map as well as list views so that IT teams can monitor the services by location or service type. So that can help to isolate issues very quickly during high traffic events. Let's see what else we got here. Next question here. This is a good one. How does Lumen provide service reliability and uptime during high demand scenarios like Black Friday or emergency response deployments?
Great question, Nikki. I think it all begins with the reliability of the Lumen ultra low loss intercity fiber network. That's going to span the US and is the backbone for our NaaS services. And really what that provides to our customers is this NaaS service availability and SLA that's behind all our services. So that starts with a 4 nines plus type of reliability and supporting this enterprise grade type of connectivity. The next thing is the automated failover and self-healing abilities of our network paths. And that helps maintain uptime even during infrastructure stress. So, as an example, if we have one link within our network that we see a failure on, it's going to self heal and it's going to route around that so that it doesn't take our customers completely down. And so we have that ability to route around these failures within the network to be able to provide that level of uptime that our customers require. The other item that we've discussed already is enabling that on-demand provisioning and bandwidth scaling, and that's going to be able to be done through our APIs or through the Control Center portal. So what that does is it allows IT teams to be able to scale up, scale down within minutes, taking away a lot of the pain points that have customers have said in the past where, hey, if I have a needs, I need it now. I don't need it in 30 days, right? So we take that uh, typical telecom experience and cloudify it, and then we reduce it to 5 minutes, right? Which is amazing. Also, just to reinforce that Lumen also deploys our own Black Lotus Labs 24/7 threat mitigation and monitoring to our own IP backbone. So not only is it an offering that we offer to enterprise customers to protect their IoT services, we actually use that to protect our internet backbone from threats that we see. It was actually developed for that purpose at the beginning to protect our own network. In high risk scenarios like Black Friday or emergency deployments, incident response plans can also be developed and customized for customers, and that includes detection, containment, and recovery protocols to align with NIST standards. So we have a lot of ways that we can help customers in these big days where we see a lot of bandwidth spikes, such as Black Friday. So those are just a few examples.
Thanks, Gail. And thanks again for joining us today. We hope this session was helpful and that it clarified what Lumen NAS is, and more importantly, how Lumen NAS empowers you to truly take control and put you in the driver's seat of your network. With Lumen NAS, you can gain fast, easy, and secure on demand connectivity that's perfectly aligned with the agility your business needs for today's dynamic cloud, AI, and edge environments. That wraps today's session. Thanks for joining today's Connected by Design webinar. To learn more or talk about your unique needs, you can always visit us online at lumen.com or connect with your Lumen representative. We'll also be following up with each of you after the session to answer any questions and help you take the next step.